This book is 1,153 pages. But we have to do it. We have to do it.
I think I need some time away. I took a little time. I pray we gon' be alright. Okay, alright. Okay, alright. Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Kendra Asi and I am back with another video. In today's video we are doing a library book haul and an October TBR because it's October 1st and we have books to read. And I'm trying to get to 100 books by the end of the year, so let's get started. So the first book I have is Queenie by Candace Carty Williams. So Bridget Jones's Diary meets Americana in this disarmingly honest, boldly political, and truly inclusive novel that will speak to anyone who has gone looking for love and found something very different in its place. Meet Queenie Jenkins, journalist, expressive, aggressive, dramatic, loved, lonely, relatable. Her boyfriend has asked her to leave their apartment. Her Jamaican British family doesn't seem to hear her. Her best friends tried to help her, and yet she doesn't stop seeing them. Queenie is in a spiral, but what makes this breathtaking debut novel so fresh is that this is a spiral mostly of Queenie's own making. The world isn't just happening to her, doing her wrong. Instead, as Queenie careens from one questionable decision to another, she finds herself wondering, as all do these days, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Who do you want to be? Queenie is a darkly comic and bittingly perversive take on modern life that will have you nodding in recognition, crying in solidarity, and rooting for this unforgettable character every step of the way. It's definitely one of the reasons why I picked up this book. It was on my TBR list for a long time and I was like, might as well read it now. It is spooky season, but at the same time, I was like, it's an orange cover. I mean, that's spooky enough, right? I guess. The second book I have is Dear Miss Metropolitan by Carolyn Farrell. Fern seeks refuge from her mother's pill popping and boyfriend's via Soul Train. Gwen finds salvation in the music of Prince, much to her congregation's dismay, and Jasenia, miles ahead of her classmates at her gifted and talented high school, is a brainy and precocious enigma. None of this matters to Bossman, who abducts them and holds them captive in a dilapidated house in Queens. Only two of the victim girls are found when they are rescued on that night. Among them is lifelong resident Miss Metropolitan, advice columnist for the local weekly. But how could anyone who fancies herself a newspaper woman have missed a horror story unfolding in her own neighborhood? Carolyn Farrell's extraordinary and original novel explores the intersections of grief and rage, personal strength and healing, and what we owe one another. This book I found on a whim. It wasn't initially on my TBR list, but when I saw it in the library, I was like, I have to grab it. Number one, I said it was a page turner, and I love me a good page turner, and I feel like it's gonna go with the vibes of like the season, like just being like that spooky, mystical, like that spooky, like thriller, like, you know, things like that. But then the thing that really got me about this book is that the chapters are short. And one thing I love is a book with short chapters because it just makes it even more like, you know, like you just want to hurry up and like keep reading because it's hard to put down when it's a short chapters. So I'm really looking forward to this. Check for trigger warnings though, because I did look on Goodreads and I saw a few, so be mindful of that. So next book I have is Something Good by Vanessa Miller. Alexis Marshall never meant to cause the accident that left John Robinson paralyzed, but though guilt plagues her, her husband hopes to put the past behind them. After all, he's in the middle of selling a tech business, and if Alexis admits to texting while driving, the deal could collapse and cost them millions. Meanwhile, Alexis's life is not as shiny and perfect as it may seem from the outside. She has secrets of her own as she becomes consumed with thoughts of the young man she hit. Can she reconcile her mistake with her husband's expectations? Trish Robinson is just trying to hold it together after the accident that left John dependent and depressed. As the bills pile up, Trish and her husband Dwayne find themselves at odds. Trish wants to forgive and move on, but Dwayne is filled with rage toward the entitled woman who altered their lives forever. Trish can't see how anything good can come from so much hate and strife, so she determines to pray until God intervenes. Then one afternoon, Marquita Lewis rings their doorbell with a baby in her arms and changes everything. Nessa Miller's latest inspirational novel reminds readers that differences may separate us, but if we cling to each other, God can bring something good out of our very worst moments. So I had saw this on like one of the new releases shelves, and I thought it was pretty good. It's not too long of a book. It's about like 315 pages. So the stories sound really interesting. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this has to offer us. Alright, so the next book I have is Home Home by Lisa Allen Augustini. Moving from Trinidad to Canada wasn't her idea, but after she's hospitalized for depression, her mother sees it as the only option. Everything in Canada is cold and confusing. No one says hello, no one walks anywhere, and bus trips are never ending and loud. She just wants to be home. But this new home also brings unexpected surprises, the chance at a family that loves unconditionally, the possibility of new friends, and the promise of a hopeful future. Though she doesn't see it yet, Canada is a place where she can feel at home if she can only find the courage to be honest with herself. And I actually started reading this book a few days ago, and it's pretty good. It definitely has some major trigger warnings, so please check that before you read this book. But other than that, I think it's a really great read. It's a quick read as well, so it's only about 145 pages. Alright, so the next book we have is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I really like the cover of this book. I think it was like super cute with like, I think it's just so nice. Like the colors and like, oh, love it. Love to see it. Jack Ellison King of Almost. He almost made valedictorian. He almost made varsity. He almost got the girl. Until when Jack and Kate meet at a party, bonding until sunrise over their mutual love of Fruit Loops and their favorite flicks, Jack knows he's falling hard. Soon she's meeting his best friends, Jillian and Franny, and Kate wins them over as easily as she did Jack. Jack's curse of almost is finally over, but this love story is complicated. It is an almost happily ever after, because Kate dies, and their story should end there. Yet Kate's death sends Jack back to the beginning, the moment they first meet. And Kate's there again, beautiful, radiant Kate. Healthy, happy, and charming as ever. Jack isn't sure if he's losing his mind. Still, if he has a chance to prevent Kate's death, he'll take it, even if that means believing in time travel. However, Jack will learn that his actions are not without consequences. And when one choice turns deadly for someone else close to him, he has to figure out what he's willing to do and let go to save the people he loves. From debut author Justin A. Reynolds comes a razor-sharp, hilarious, and heartfelt novel about the choices we make, the people we choose, and the moments that make a life worth reliving. Like, doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound like, an interesting read? So I had to pick it up. I had to. Next on the list we have Does My Body Offend You by Myra Cuevas and Marie Marquardt. I hope I said her last name right. But yeah, I got this because it was really pretty and pink and colorful, and it caught my eye, so I was like, why not? Melina Malave Rosario is starting to believe that catastrophes come in threes. First, Hurricane Maria destroyed her home, taking her unbreakable spirit with it. Second, she and her mother are now stuck in Florida, which is nothing like her beloved Puerto Rico. And third, when she goes to school, braless after a bad sunburn and is humiliated by the school administration into covering up, she feels she has no choice but to comply. Ruby McAllister has a reputation as her school's outspoken feminist rebel. But back in Seattle, she lives in her sister's shadow. Now her sister is teaching in underprivileged communities, and Ruby's in a Florida high school unsure of what to do with her future, or if she's even capable of making a difference in the world. So when Ruby notices the new girl is being forced to cover up her chest, she's not willing to keep quiet about it. Milena nor Ruby expected to be the leaders of the school's dress code rebellion, but the girls will have to face their own insecurities, biases, and privileges, as well as the ups and downs of their newfound friendship, if they want to stand up for their ideals and ultimately for themselves. We love a good feminist read. I think this is definitely going to be a really good book. Definitely with it being, school season and things like that. I just love the cover. Like, something about bright, eye-catching covers just make me just want to pick it up and read. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Alright, so next we have You Truly Assumed by Lila Sabrine. Look at the cover. Does that look like Black Girl Magic? You can't, let it be a black woman, a person of color, colorful, eye-catching. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm just gonna pick it up. After a terrorist attack rocks the country and anti-Islamic sentiment stirs, 3 Black Muslim girls create a space where they can shatter assumptions and share truths. Sabria has trained hard for summer ballet auditions, so she's devastated when everything is canceled after a terrorist attack. She takes solace in writing in her private online journal, You Truly Assumed, only to discover it isn't so private after all. And there are many out there like her, hoping to be heard, including Zakat. Can't wait to leave her hometown to pursue her dreams, but her family fears for her safety. With her best friend growing distant, finding a kindred voice online seems like fate. Yet when her own haven is vandalized, Zakat wonders if she'll ever feel safe again. Farah doesn't want to visit her father and his new family, but sometimes a change of pace brings a change of heart. For Farah, for the boy she might love, and for the new friends she meets through You Truly Assumed. When threatening comments and emails try to silence them, the 3 must decide, shut things down and stay safe, or risk it all and let their voices be heard. There's nothing more to say about it. There's just nothing more. There's just nothing. I just love how it's multiple, 3 different perspectives. I just really like different point of views, multiple POVs. It just does something. It does something. I don't know how to explain it, but it does something. Okay, so for the last book, we have Stephen King, It. And I don't have an explanation for why I got this book. My dad and I have been saying we were going to read this book for the longest time because he's a big Stephen King fan, and I just feel like it's the time of year. It's that time of year. It's October 1st. It's spooky season. I'm like, it's either now or never at this point. And this book is huge, y'all. This book is. If I can get to that point. This book is 1,153 pages. But we have to do it. We have to do it. To the children, the town was their whole world. To the adults, knowing better, Derry, Maine was just their hometown. Familiar, well-ordered, a good place to live, it was the children who saw and felt what made Derry so horribly different. In the storm drains and the sewers it lurked, taking on the shape of every nightmare, each person's deepest dread. Sometimes it reached up, seizing, tearing, killing. The adults, knowing better, knew nothing. Time passed and the children grew up, moved away. The horror of it was deep buried, wrapped in forgetfulness, until the grown-up children were called back once more to confront it, as it stirred and coiled in the sullen depths of their memories, reaching up again to make their past nightmares a terrible present reality. Frightening, epic, and brilliant, Stephen King's It is one of the greatest works of a true storytelling master. And to be honest, I really want to read a book that's going to make me scared. And I don't know if it will, because reading scary books and then watching scary movies are two completely different things. But I'm looking forward to reading that and seeing how it is. Alright you guys, so I think that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed it, please give a like, comment, and subscribe, and come back because we have some fun over here, and we are new but we are on our way. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.